What if everything you were taught about the history of human civilization was incomplete? What if the greatest advances in science, medicine, mathematics, and architecture didn't come from Greece or Rome, but from a civilization that existed thousands of years before them? This is not a theory. This is history. The history they chose not to teach you. While Europe struggled through the Dark Ages, living in fear, disease, and ignorance, India had already built universities, hospitals, observatories, and cities with running water. Today, we uncover the real story. The story of how ancient India was not just ahead of its time, it was ahead of our time. Chapter 1: The World's First University. In 700 BC, while most of the world was still organized in small tribes, India built Takshashila, the world's first university. This was not a small school. Takshashila had over 10,000 students arriving from Greece, Persia, China, Babylon, and Syria. They came to study medicine, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, warfare, and dozens of other subjects. The university had over 60 different courses, and some of the greatest minds in human history walked its corridors. Chanakya, the legendary political strategist who shaped the Maurya Empire, studied and taught here. Europe's first university, the University of Bologna, was founded in 1088 AD. That is almost 1,800 years after Takshashila already existed. Let that number sink in. 1,800 years. Chapter 2: Mathematics that Changed the World. In 499 AD, an Indian mathematician named Aryabhata published a work that would quietly change the course of human history. He calculated the value of pi to 4 decimal places. He explained that the Earth is round. He calculated the circumference of the Earth with an error of just 0.2%. And most shockingly, he stated that the Earth rotates on its own axis, causing day and night. This was 499 AD. Galileo made the same argument in 1632, over 100 years later, and was placed under house arrest by the Catholic Church for the rest of his life. But Aryabhata was not alone. Brahmagupta, another Indian mathematician, invented the concept of zero as a number in 628 AD. Not zero as an empty space, but zero as a mathematical value that could be used in calculations. Without zero, modern computers cannot exist. Without zero, modern physics cannot exist. The device you are watching this video on exists because of an Indian mathematician from the 7th century. Chapter 3: Surgery. 2,500 years before modern medicine. In 600 BC, an Indian physician named Sushruta wrote a medical text called the Sushruta Samhita. This document describes over 300 surgical procedures, over 120 surgical instruments made of steel, and detailed instructions for operations including cataract surgery, bone setting, organ removal, and reconstructive surgery of the nose and ears. Sushruta performed rhinoplasty, nose reconstruction surgery, 2,500 years before European doctors attempted anything similar. British surgeons only learned the technique in the 1700s. After observing Indian physicians still practicing the same methods Sushruta had documented centuries before. The same document also described the importance of sterilizing instruments before surgery, a concept European medicine only formally accepted in the 1860s after Joseph Lister introduced antiseptic procedures. 2,500 years of unnecessary deaths in Europe, because they didn't read India's textbooks. Chapter 4: The City with Running Water. In 2500 BC, at the same time Egypt was building the pyramids. On the other side of the world, India was building something even more remarkable: the city of Mohenjo-Daro. This ancient city had a population of over 40,000 people. It had a grid street system more organized than most modern cities. It had individual houses with private bathrooms. It had a citywide sewage and drainage system that connected every home to underground brick-lined sewers. Rome is credited with building the first sewage systems in history. Rome's first sewer was built in 600 BC. Mohenjo-Daro had one in 2500 BC, nearly 2,000 years earlier. The city was discovered by accident in 1922 when a British archaeologist noticed unusually old bricks being used in a railroad construction site. What they found underneath changed everything historians thought they knew about ancient civilization. And here's the most disturbing part. We still don't know why it was abandoned. The entire city, home to tens of thousands of people, was simply empty. No signs of war, no signs of disease, no bodies, no explanation. Mohenjo-Daro remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in human history. Chapter 5. Steel that couldn't rust. In 402 AD, a 7-meter tall iron pillar was erected in Delhi. It weighs over 6 tons. It has been standing in the open air for over 1,600 years. Through monsoons, heat, and humidity that would destroy any modern steel structure. It has almost no rust. Metallurgists from around the world have studied this pillar for decades, trying to understand how ancient Indian blacksmiths created an iron alloy so pure that it resists corrosion for over 16 centuries. The technology used to create this pillar was not replicated anywhere in the world until the 20th century. It stands today in the Qutb complex in Delhi, silent, rust-free, still waiting for the world to fully understand it. Ancient India didn't just contribute to human civilization. In many ways, ancient India was human civilization. The mathematics that powers your computer, the surgical techniques that save lives today, the urban planning concepts modern cities still struggle to implement, the metallurgy that modern engineers spent decades trying to reverse engineer. All of it existed in India thousands of years before the rest of the world caught up. This is India untold. And this is just the beginning. If this video changed how you see history, subscribe, because what we uncover next will go even deeper.